Welcome everyone. Today's going to be tank number 13 of the 43 tank series. So in this tank, it's behind me, I have some Bristlenose plecos breeding. There's a few generations of babies now, and they're throwing some really cool genetics. So we'll go ahead, I'll take a look at that tank, and I'm also going to show you a couple more updates in the fish room, and I'll talk about a video I plan on doing that I didn't have time for tonight. Figured I'd still shoot a video, but another video to come later on this week. Here it is, just a 40-gallon tank, currently running off of one sponge filter. I have a lot of acrylic yarn in here. I've talked about that multiple times. Helps grow beneficial bacteria, gives a hiding place for the babies. Actually right there in the middle of the screen, if it'll focus in for us, that's one of the long fin calico plecos that I was trying to produce in here. There's one of the parents. So underneath that sponge filter, I think it's a female. I'll see when it moves a little bit more. There's a female long fin. I have maybe 5 or 6 adults in this tank, anywhere from common females, albino females. I have long fin commons of male and female. They're pretty cool though. The way that their genetics are, their parents, because I bred them and I raised them from babies and I held them back, their parents were a long fin albino male and a female standard fin super red. So all their babies came out long fin, excuse me guys, they came out as long fin commons or just standard commons, but as these babies prove, they actually carried all those genetics obviously, and they're producing some really cool babies. So right up there on top of that sponge filter is a super red long fin. There's some common long fins, and obviously I have those fish I just talked about breeding with the standard fin and also the albinos. So it's hard to tell what babies are coming from which female, but I'm not going to change any of the adults in this tank because some of the results I'm really happy with. I don't want to risk losing that. Even this guy right there in the middle of the screen, just a nice long fin, got a little bit of color in the tips of his fins. Even the albinos, they're throwing some long fin albinos. So I'm getting 4 or 5 different fish out of this tank. Granted, I have multiple parents breeding, but stuff like this I haven't produced before, and they're really hard to get a hold of, or at least for a decent price. So the way I kind of went through and bred those fish from what I had, and I worked with my stock and just gave it time, I'm really happy with these results. It's hard to focus on some of these little guys. Right there is a really cool, might be a standard fin calico, but I've never seen these fish available in any local store. I'm sure you can find them online, but they're definitely not a commonly available fish, and they're probably only 10% of the fish in this tank. So I'm not getting a ton of them, but I'm definitely excited to be getting any of these fish produced in the fish room. And while I'm talking about it, I'll show you a tank of some grow outs I'm holding back. In this tank here, this is one of the 10-gallon tanks with the new filters I just installed. I did a video on that. I collected or caught out as many calicos. Like that one there is awesome. There's a calico on the sponge filter, there's an albino, or like a super red long fin. There's a calico long fin. All these fish came from that tank. Same with these standards. I caught a couple extras. I always like to move around babies from a tank because you don't want to risk losing all of them if anything were to go wrong. So it's just smart to move things around. But these guys all came from that. And on the back, I know this is not the best footage. I'm not sure why I'm having trouble focusing in, but that calico there is just awesome. It's almost like a camo orange fish with standard fins. So that's really cool. I cannot wait. Like, these guys are not for sale at all. I'm definitely going to grow these out, work with them, breed them. So that's kind of some closer fish that are getting a little bit bigger. You guys can see it came from that tank. But let's go ahead, jump down to that 40-gallon tank. I'm going to go ahead and feed these guys and show you how I take care of them and what I feed them. As for food, I just got these in the other day. I get these algae wafers from aquaticfoods.com. Let me see, I think it was, wafers were 38 or 36. They were under $40, you can see right there, for a 5-pound bag. Typically the wafers are big like you'd see at a store, but they came in small this time. I'm actually kind of happy about it. At first I was confused, I thought I bought the wrong food. But this is a lot easier. I don't have to break the wafers up, and if I do, they're a lot thinner. But we're gonna go ahead, I'll probably throw, since they're small, there's 4 right there, I'll probably give them like 8 or 10 of these wafers, especially for the video. See if we can kind of get a little feeding frenzy going on. It's smart when you're feeding the fish to kind of spread the wafers out throughout the tank so everyone can feed on it. I threw a couple wafers to the left side of the tank, but I'll let them go ahead and start feeding on that. I'm gonna use my little fish room flashlight. This is awesome. I never knew what to buy. This is a Max 800. I use this all the time in the fish room now, and it's really helpful. It was like 15, 16 bucks for 2 of them. So really nice. It's awesome, especially in person when you're not fighting the glare, to get a good look at your plecos, especially when you're looking in the caves. But let's go ahead. I'll give these guys a few minutes to kind of start feeding on the food. They already seem to be, and we'll zoom in on these guys. Since the fish are used to it, I feed these plecos twice a day right now. So they'll get algae wafers like this in the morning when I'm feeding everything else. And then every night, even if it's late and the timers are off, I always put algae wafers in before I go to bed. Very important for breeding and raising pleco fry. They need to constantly graze on food, and your numbers will definitely diminish over time if you're not feeding heavily. You can see the parents starting to come out as well. Really nice long fin. It seems to be a female. I kind of spooked her there. But even just these babies is cool to see. I can spot 2 younger calicos in the mix. There's one right there, one back there. They look like long fins. Some more standards, albinos. I got a super red, right, where is it? Right there. Nice standard, long fin. Some more super reds there, some older ones. We got one coming in front of the glass that looks like a standard long fin. So I mean, I could not be happier with the results of what's being produced in this tank. There comes the female again under the sponge filter. Try to get the light on her. I'm using my camera stand right now for my iPhone, so I can use 2 hands and kind of go around and use my light and give you guys a steadier shot. But I'm gonna let them keep feeding on this food. As you can see, they just swarm it. They instantly can smell it, and they know that that's their food source because I feed it all the time. It doesn't cloud the water or bump the ammonia as much as if feeding like vegetables. A lot of people feed the canned green beans or peas. I've bought them before, I never even got around to using them because this is such a reliable food source. It's always available. I don't have to go to the fridge, I don't have to prepare anything. They're in the bag, they're dry, I just feed them. And it works out great. They're cost effective when you buy them in the quantities that I do. So if you want to see that, anything I'm using, I always post the things in the description because why not? If you guys want to click on it, it's the affiliate link, but it's not a real big deal. I just like to share with you guys what I'm using. And there's actually, I'm seeing right now, there is an awesome, see if I can get him, calico pleco over here. He's tiny. He's really cool. I should probably go ahead and catch him out. See if I can find him. Right, wow, he's awesome right there. I mean, tell me what you think, but that is an awesome fish. He's like black with that red on him, so that's a really cool pleco right there. He just climbed on the back of that bigger common, and they're just swarming that food. Let's go ahead and put some wafers in there. I'm gonna put even more because I never know how much they really need. I just make sure they're getting enough food and it doesn't disappear right away, but I want to make sure it's not left over the next day so I can feed them again. I just threw another 5 or 6 wafers in there. And I'm also trying to figure out, these wafers are a lot thinner and smaller than what I've been feeding for probably a year or 2 now. And just to clarify, this is pretty much all I feed my plecos. So these algae wafers that I have, this right here that I get from Aquatic Foods, that really is their diet. You may think that all they're getting is algae, they need different things, but there's a really good mix of driftwood in those wafers. They get the spirulina. I mean, if I looked up the ingredients, there's so much going on in that food
That's really all you need to feed these guys. And they'll get some driftwood that's in the tank if I have any in the tanks. I'm going to be completely honest, I don't really have driftwood in every tank, and if I do, it's not a significant amount. A lot of people stress that, but it's in their food source, so I don't really see the need for it. And I don't know, I had really good luck without using it. I've been breeding plecos for over a year now, and I've raised up over thousands of plecos and sold them to pet stores. So kind of results speak for themselves. Just kind of tell you guys the truth of how I'm breeding them. They'll get some leftover, let me think, like guppy flakes if they sink to the bottom, if I'm breeding guppies in the tank with them. Occasionally they'll get some pelleted food that I'm feeding my rams if they get to it first and it sinks to the bottom. But this is their food source primarily, and I think my plecos are doing great. I mean, I'm getting a lot of breeding going on, a lot of growth. They're giving me batch after batch of babies, and the food's working great, so that's fine, and the filtration's fine. Don't try to, if it's not broke, don't fix it, really. So if you have plecos and you want to keep it simple, that's really all you need to feed them. But I'm going to start wrapping this up, but let's just point out some nice fish. I mean, I showed you a calico. Let me see if I can get my pointer in here. Let me see where I'm at. Okay. So there's a super red in the corner. The calico, I'm starting to lose them again, that I showed you I was like getting excited about. That's kind of that dark color. I just saw like 3 of them. So there's one right there next to my finger. Nice calico right there. We have some common long fins. There's one right there next to my finger facing me. Super red just climbed on top. There's a really nice dark calico long fin over here. Next to him is a long fin super red. I mean, these fish, they're amazing to look at if you have just one pleco in a tank. But to be breeding and reproducing these and not just going and buying one, I'm really excited about this tank. So I know I'm kind of just rambling on going, but I mean, this is some amazing footage, honestly. So I'm just letting the camera roll and I'm kind of talking over, watching these guys feed. I enjoy this. So me personally, I've watched a lot of YouTube videos. I'm a small YouTuber myself, but I watch a lot of videos. I never kind of catch this footage of other people showing plecos like this. So not to talk myself up, but this was no easy work. I've been working on, like I said, the fish that I'm breeding here, I bred their parents and I raised them up. So I mean, this is at least a year-in project, probably about a year and a half from when I bought those fish till they bred, till I grew out their babies, till they bred, to where these babies are now. And I didn't really know what I was going to get out of that outcome. So you're really always just doing your best, hoping for the best outcome. If these were all common plecos, I'd still be happy. I mean, it's a lot of relatively big babies in a large number. So to get this wide of variety, like this super red right down here, he's kind of hiding down. Like that fish right there, if I only had 1 out of 100, I'd be ecstatic about it. I'd be super excited. But I probably have 15 or so in this tank. And those dark calicos, just watching right now, I'm spotting a good 6 of them or so. And I'm probably going to keep all of those and breed them. Grow them up and hopefully eventually breed them and see what they produce. If they can be line bred in a consistent fish, that'd be awesome. That'd be pretty easy. If they're going to throw a small amount of babies just like them, that's still a win. They may produce all common babies and just have those genetics, and it might be another long project along the road. So I will never discontinue this tank of breeders until those guys are grown up, they breed, and I see what the results are. If they produce fish even better, I'll start breeding those and I can start updating my breeding stock. But it doesn't, I mean, I just kind of scared them because I was trying to move my light. But even them getting swarmed, you can see how many plecos are in this tank. There's still probably 50 of them, 25 of them in the camera shot, and almost all of them just left. So I don't want to talk too much more about this. I know I'm already kind of talking myself up. I'm really just talking the fish up. The fish do all the hard work. I mean, I'm just cleaning the water and feeding them, which is still no easy task, but some of it's just pure luck. But there is a lot of hard work, and whenever something cool does happen, it's exciting. It's kind of cool to observe. But I'll show you a couple of things in the fish room. I'm gonna wrap this up. Tank number 13. Hopefully that was interesting. You guys thought that was cool. I mean, I'm kind of mad I just spooked them all away from the food, but I've been wanting to show this tank for a while. I was trying to do my tanks in order and kind of do a little tank series. But I have some German blue rams hatching out, so some cool wigglers we can check out. I want to show my ideas for my wall tank and some more videos to come. Like I said, the rams just bred. I thought I'd show you the parents. So here's the male, and that's a nice, I mean, it's one of my favorite German blue rams I've ever raised and produced. So you can see just how thick that fish is for being a ram. One thing I really work on is, first of all, health. I want my fish to be relatively hardy. I work on good colors, good fins, and good size, which this guy is kind of like my pride and joy right now. I've been breeding these fish for probably 2 years without buying any new strain. So this is all my line of German blue rams, and that's one male that I take a lot of pride in. I grew him up. I waited to breed him so he could keep growing to his potential size. I separated the females so they had no males, they could grow more. And this is just a really good breeding tank right now. They're in a 20-gallon long. They have some flower pots. There was 3, and there was one in the back corner, but they just recently spawned. So let's take a look at those eggs. And another spawn that he had last week with a different, not even last week, just a few days ago, with a different female that they're already hatching out. Whenever I'm hatching out my rams, all I do is I take out the flower pot, I put them in a container. I use a white bowl. This is actually for cooking. It's a little handle and a little spout, so it's easy for water changes. But most importantly, it's round, so there's no corners, and it's white, so they can't see out. I'll hook up an air stone, and then I just drop in there. Sometimes, most of the time I do methylene blue, but those are eggs I pulled out from his tank, I believe just today. So waiting for those to hatch. It takes a few days, maybe about 4 days for them to hatch and become wigglers. But over here, this is what I really wanted to show you guys. This is a container where I pulled the air stone so I could show you of a bunch of eggs that are hatching. And it's always hard to see in person, so I don't know if we'll be able to do it. But I could see them really well today when I came home from work and I started looking at this tank. Let's see if we can spot these 2 little clumps right on the left side and right side are all fry. So if we zoom in on them, you can see their eyeballs, or like those black dots, that's their eyeballs. These guys have all hatched and they're not yet wigglers. So give it probably another day or 2. These guys will start wiggling around more. They're ready to swim. They'll become free swimming. And that's when I'll adjust my airflow. But these are really cool. They're really hard to get a good shot of. But those are all the babies, and they'll kind of twitch around, but they just hatched, and the air's been off them for about a minute or 2 while I was waiting to show them. But they're starting to kind of move around a little bit. But those are always really exciting to see. I wanted to share that with you. I know this is mainly a tank update, but I got to show a little bit of the fish room while I got you guys. Another thing I want to show, not so much fish, but as a kind of a fish tip. I learned this from L.R.Bretz and L.R.Bretz Aquatics. Hopefully I'm saying that right. I know his channel real well. I'm just kind of forgetting off the top of my head. But I was watching their fish room tour that he shot the video of Eric's fish room, and they showed how he cleans his aquarium lids. And as you can see, I use these are the lids over here. They're just kind of plastic greenhouse siding, and they were real dirty, a lot of fish flakes that dried on the side, and I actually dropped it in the aquarium right there, and the plecos within 24 hours cleaned it spotless. So it's kind of hard to see because it's actually clear. There's a guppy with its face against it. That's the lid there, and the plecos are just swarming over it and feeding off all that dried up food that was sitting on it and algae that built up. And additional to that, they love that airflow. So the air is actually bubbling up, hitting the side of the lid and going up to the top of the aquarium. So that's a really cool tip. His video is long, so a lot of you guys may have not seen the whole thing and seen that part of it. Seems kind of simple, but that's a really cool fish room tip on how to get your aquarium lids cleaned. If you have small fish, or especially plecos, take those lids off every once in a while. You can even let them dry for a day and then drop them in the aquarium. It's a great food source for the fish, and it's a really easy way to hands-off clean them. So you can see there's probably 50 plecos or more just on that lid alone. Those top few columns are on both sides, and all the way down there's plecos on that. So the next thing I'll do is these tanks up here. They have a little bit of algae, not a lot, and just fish food I miss on the corners. They're gonna eat all that kind of stuff. So take it off, let it dry if you want, or just drop it right in the aquarium. You don't want dust and stuff going in there if it's dirty. You can wipe off the top, just drop it in there. Those plecos will clean it right up, and I think that's a really nice, helpful, easy fish room tip. Thanks for watching, guys. I know I kind of jumped around a little bit here and there throughout the video. I'm kind of like a midnight YouTuber. Almost all my videos I shoot after work, so it's usually late. I'm tired. I know I don't always look the best, but I want to share with you guys stuff in the fish room. Keeps me going, keeps me interested in the fish. I always enjoy it, but if you can share with other people, it's more hands-on. I like watching your videos. I want to contribute to the YouTube kind of fish tube, show you what I have. But thanks again, guys. If you did not yet, please like below, comment what you think I should do next, and hit the notification bell if you want to see when I upload a video. I'm doing a big 55-gallon kind of rescape. It's going to be actually all with artificial plants, so something that is really easy to do, but I don't think a lot of people do because it's not really different. Everyone has fake plants, and you buy them from the pet store real cheap, and they last forever. But I'm trying to deck it out, make it look nice and real low maintenance. But that's what's coming next. So thanks for watching. I will talk to you guys soon.